Hey everybody. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Living Healthy on a Budget. I've got Coach Shauna and Melanie here with me today. But before we get started, just a couple of items to take care of. We will have some time for questions at the end of the presentation, and you can type those into the question box in the lower portion of your control panel. We will be posting a recording of the webinar online here in the next couple of days, but if you would like a copy of the presentation in PDF format, or if your question does not get answered today, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. All right, I'll turn it over to Coach Shauna to get things started.
Hello everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Today we are going to talk about multiple ways that you can tighten up that pocketbook and still live a healthy lifestyle. We're going to cover multiple aspects of health while also saving some money. We're going to go and discuss ways that you can save that are related to nutrition, exercise, and mental health. We are also going to touch on some ideas for community resources that you can check out. The first thing we're going to do is dive into what we typically think about when living healthy. Nutrition. As coaches, we hear this all the time. Eating healthy is expensive. And this can be true, as some healthier options can have that higher price tag. But if you plan and go about it the right way, you can keep your costs down. So plan. Having a plan when trying to stick to a healthy budget is the most important thing, which is why we set it 3 times. Now, as you start to plan, the first thing you might want to do is pull out that notebook and pen and create your healthy shopping list based on those meals you plan to make. However, I'm going to challenge you to think a little bit different. When I am meal planning for my week, the first thing I do is look at the sale flyers for my local grocery stores. Then I decide on the meals I will create based on the items that are on sale, instead of planning the meals and hoping some of those items are on sale. So access to those sale flyers can vary. You can purchase that weekend paper to find the ads. You can access the flyers electronically through your store website, or if your local store has their own app, you might be able to access that through your smartphone. My routine actually involves an app that I discovered that has pretty much changed my life when looking up sale ads and creating my shopping list. The app is called Flip, F-L-I-P-P. Once you download it, you plug in your zip code and it pulls all store ads in the vicinity for you to browse through. This compiles all ads in one place, so you're not taking multiple steps to search for them. You can even create your own shopping list in the app as well, which minimizes the steps to create that list. Now, this app is great. However, I recommend you still have those store apps on your smartphone, especially if your local store has loyalty or perks programs. Sign up for those free programs, or you could be missing out on some great deals and coupon offers if you pass them up. And with the mention of coupons, keep in mind that they can be great and help you save money, but only if you have a reason to buy that product. Try not to purchase something only because of the coupon, especially when most coupons are for processed foods. If you plan to use a coupon, increase your savings and pair a coupon with a sale price to get the best deal possible. So at this point, you've created your shopping list based on the sale ads and your desired meal plans, but be sure to stick to that list. If you head into the store without a plan and toss a variety of healthy food into your cart, the total at the register might be higher than you expect. There's also a good chance that a portion of those items will end up in the trash. On average, we throw away about 25% of the food we buy because we don't have a plan to use it. When you are buying perishable items, they should have a purpose. Know why you're buying it and what you plan to use it for. Also, before you head to the store, have a meal or a snack. When you shop on a full stomach, you are less likely to give in to the unhealthy foods that look good because you're hungry, which makes sticking to your list that much easier. You want to plan for leftovers when creating your menus. You do not need a new recipe for every meal of every day. Having a plan for those leftovers can keep food waste to a minimum, it can keep costs down, and it can challenge you to get creative. Also, consider paying with cash. When you're creating your list, estimate how much you would be spending and only bring enough cash to cover that amount. Limiting your budget to what cash you have in your wallet can prevent you from making those last-minute impulse buys. Next up, do the work yourself. When you grab those pre-cut fruits and veggies, as well as some of the cuts of meat, you are paying for the convenience of having it done. Consider buying the whole item and doing the work yourself. Chop your own produce or buy that whole chicken and cut it up. Yes, this does take some time, but your wallet will thank you in the end. Shopping in bulk. When we are talking about shopping in bulk, we don't always mean going out and buying the largest size of a product or grabbing the package with the largest quantity at a cost that fits your budget. Most grocery stores have a bulk section of items where you can choose the quantity you need. This can be considered more of a do-it-yourself section, which can help you in the long run. Shopping in bulk can save you money, but only when it makes sense. Look at the unit prices or the price per ounce of the product and be sure to choose the one that is budget friendly. Another way to shop in bulk is to split the larger products with other healthy-minded friends. This can come in handy if you have access to the larger box stores like Sam's Club or Costco. You can also check out the website boxed.com for similar bulk products without the membership cost. And sticking to a lower budget does not have to mean boring and bland food. Do not be afraid to get creative with the flavors in your meals with various herbs and spices. Depending on what you're looking for, those spices can affect your budget. If you have access to some of those bulk or do-it-yourself herbs and spices at your store, take advantage of it. You can get only what you need for a recipe for pennies versus spending a few dollars on a full container you may never use up. Finally, skip the name brand products. Grab the store brand items for much less. The generic products are just as good and will help you save at the same time. Remember to compare those unit prices and grab the best deal. Next up, Melanie is going to talk about sticking to your budget when buying nutrient-dense produce.
Thanks, Shauna. So we often hear concerns about healthy foods and specifically fruits and veggies costing more than packaged foods. But I'm here to tell you that it's not true. Yes, there are certain healthy foods that will cost more, but there are actually so many nutrient-rich foods that you can find at a low cost. One thing to consider is if you're buying certain packaged foods, you may be spending more. For example, consider a box of cereal you might have at home. A serving is usually about 3/4 of a cup. So if, like a lot of people, you don't sit there and measure your cereal, you're probably getting 2 servings in one sitting. So basically, you get about 12 servings for, let's say, $3.50, $4 per box. With that same amount of money, you can get a canister of rolled oats, which is about 30 servings, and some fresh fruit for breakfast. For example, some bananas, strawberries, and peaches. This leads me to the quality of food. The nutrients you get from having fruits, veggies, and whole foods is going to be much better than what you get from packaged or convenience foods. When you're buying fruits and veggies, nutritionally, you're getting much more bang for your buck. Ultimately, the cost of packaged foods and snack foods like crackers, cookies, cereal bars, and so on costs more if you consider the serving sizes. So if you consider cutting back on those types of foods, you would also have more money for higher quality and healthier foods. So now with seasonal produce, where should you shop for the produce to get the best deals? A few things to consider. First, what's in season in your area? Buying produce in season is the best way to save money and get great quality food in your area. On a side note, in-season produce is cheaper because there is an increased supply locally, and so those foods do not have to be shipped in from other states or even from overseas. Now, to figure out what's in season in your area, you can either just look at your local grocers or produce market sales flyers or a website to see what produce is on sale. For example, if you see berries, buy one, get one free, you know they're in season. Also, I've included a link, it's seasonalfoodguide.org, where you can search by your state and month of the year to see exactly what's in season in your area. Now, if you happen to have access to a local farmer's market, this is another great way to find deals on produce. The vendors are going to sell usually produce within 100 miles or so of your area. So it is cutting down on transportation costs, and again, the produce will be in season. Sometimes vendors also have deals on produce towards the end of the day and or produce that may be considered ugly or misshapen. And you can even check with your local grocery store. Sometimes they also have these same sales. It definitely doesn't hurt to ask. To get more tips about farmers markets, or if you're maybe considering saving even more money by cutting out the middleman and starting your own garden, definitely check out our past webinar on fresh finds. Now with frozen produce, something to definitely keep in mind is that when it comes to produce, the freezer can be your best friend. If you've bought fresh produce in season but have more than you're going to use during a given week, utilize your freezer to have that produce for months to come. For example, strawberries are currently in season in my area. So as they have been on sale, I personally stock up and keep them in the fridge for the week, and then chop up the rest and toss it in the freezer bag for winter months for smoothies, smoothie bowls, and oats. Along the same lines, if there are certain fruits and veggies you like to eat throughout the year, but they're not in season, this is the time to shop your grocer's freezer section. So let's say you love having blueberries all year long for your smoothies. I'd recommend checking out the freezer section during the winter months where they'll probably be at a lower cost. Also keep in mind that frozen produce maintains pretty much all of the vitamins and minerals since it's packed, and then flash frozen when it's in season. So nutritionally, the quality is still there. Now Shauna is going to dive into detail about low-cost staples.
All right, so trying to create nutritious meals for yourself and your family that can keep you satisfied can be tough when sticking to a budget. Include some of those low-cost staples in your recipes to help stretch those meals to feed your family. First up is grains. And I know many of you may be thinking, I thought we were supposed to avoid those, or I thought they were bad for me. And the answer is maybe. We just need to be smart about using these products. We should eat as much real food as possible, meaning proteins and produce, while limiting these processed options. Now, the rice, oats, and quinoa are slightly processed, but when we look at the nutrition label, there are limited, if any, added ingredients. The pasta is a processed product, but it can help you stretch your meals a little bit. The thing to remember with these high-starch products is to stick to the serving size according to the nutrition label and use them in addition to the healthier products already in your meal. When we think about protein, we typically think about animal meat. But look at quinoa, lentils, and beans to add some protein to your meals as well as some bulk. For example, add some black beans to your taco meat to help it stretch a little bit further. Think about cooking with chicken thighs more often. They routinely cost less than the chicken breasts and have some great flavors. Or like I mentioned previously, buy the whole chicken and do the work yourself. Eggs and canned fish like tuna are another low-cost staple to add to your shopping list for quick meals and or snacks during the day. Also check out the dairy section for deals on cottage cheese and yogurt for a good protein snack. Nut butters can have a higher protein option, but they can get pricey, especially for those good quality ones. So try to add these to your list only when they're at a great sale price. Now, previously, Melanie did talk about buying in season regarding produce. However, there are some options that tend to have that lower price point across all seasons. Bananas, root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, onions, parsnips, and radishes, along with other veggies such as cabbage and canned tomatoes, tend to stick to a similar price year-round and can also help you stick to your budget. Setting a realistic budget for yourself is important, but we encourage you to challenge yourself and tighten that budget even further. Melanie will discuss this further on the next slide.
So the SNAP challenge. This is something we just wanted to touch on. For those who may not be aware, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is formerly known as food stamps. And this is in place in the U.S. to provide assistance to families who need financial help in order to afford food for their families. The SNAP challenge is something that has become an annual event to raise awareness about hunger and food insecurity in our country. This annual event, which is hosted by Feeding America, asks that participants follow the actual budget provided by the SNAP program for 1 week to bring awareness to the difficulties and challenges that come with feeding a family on this budget. So the average amount allotted to each person under the SNAP program is $4.50 or $4.50 per day per person. Of course, this can vary by state. With the SNAP challenge, you have to stick within that daily allotted budget. So basically, $4.50 is all you get for all your meals for an entire day. We understand that budgets can vary greatly from household to household, but for a large percentage of families, it can be a very real challenge to figure out how to feed their families on such a tight budget. Now, we are not asking anyone to sign up for this challenge, but just wanted to give you something to consider. For example, think about the cost of your morning coffee or what you spend buying out for lunch. Those small daily purchases might blow your entire budget within the challenge's parameters. With that in mind, we did come up with some ways to utilize some of the low-cost staples that Shauna just went over to help give everyone some ideas on how they can use some of these healthier foods, whether you're on a tight budget or if you just want to start getting ideas on how you can save a bit more money on your grocery bill. On a side note, there are some food bloggers out there who have taken part in the SNAP Challenge in previous years with some really great recipes. So with a quick Google search, you can find these sites for some additional recipe ideas. If you do want to learn more about the SNAP Challenge, or you want to learn more about food insecurity in our country, please check out feedingamerica.org. Now, in the next slide, I am going to go over a few recipes that incorporate some of the staples mentioned previously. So this is a recipe I use at home all the time. They can whip up really quickly and freeze leftovers for future meals. You can use this sauce as a traditional marinara, but I also use it as a base for a few different meals. Some ideas include to use the sauce to poach fish. You can add in chopped veggies, even serve over polenta or cornmeal. You can cook eggs in the sauce, which is called eggs in purgatory. So this quick tomato sauce, basically, it's just some chopped onion, sauteed in olive oil or butter, salt, some garlic cloves, and a can of crushed tomatoes. You basically heat it up, saute the onions, add the spices, stir for a few minutes, and then you add the crushed tomatoes, simmer on medium-low for about 10 minutes, and you're done. And obviously, if you want to get the recipe, please feel free to email us when we are done. And the next slide is a really great way to use up any leftover veggies in your fridge or freezer. So as the name suggests, garbage soup is a smart way to incorporate any veggies you might have on hand before they end up in the garbage. It's really more of a method than recipe, so get creative and use whatever veggies, herbs, spices you might have at home. So basically, it's just some olive oil or butter, onions, whatever aromatics like garlic, ginger, carrots that you might have, a half a head of cabbage, a can of diced tomatoes, some broth, 2 cups of veggies. And so here, a good way to get creative, whatever veggies you have left over, scraps from previous meals, leftovers, or frozen veggies are perfectly fine. Salt and pepper, and I use Italian seasoning, but you can use any combination of herbs and spices that you have on hand at home. Basically, it's just throwing it all in the pot, sauteing the onions and the veggies, adding the spices, then adding the tomatoes, veggies, and broth. You bring it to a simmer about 20 to 30 minutes until the veggies are cooked through. Season with salt and pepper, and there you go. On a side note, you can definitely add protein for a more well-rounded meal. To keep it low cost, you can add canned beans or lentils, leftover meat, chicken, pork, beef would all make it delicious. So now in the next slide, Shauna is switching gears from nutrition and we'll dive into exercise.
A common question we get from participants is, what is the best exercise to help me reach my goals? And the answer is simple. It is whatever is going to get you up and moving regularly. You are creating a healthier lifestyle, so you do what you can to stick with it long term. There are many options out there, depending on what you can do and or what you're willing to spend and invest in. It can start with simply getting outside and walking during your lunch break, or heading to a trail nearby or a local school track outside of work hours. Or you can mix it up by adjusting your speed and climbing stairs or bleachers or anything like that to challenge yourself a little bit more. If you're looking for something a bit more structured, try out some free or low-cost apps on your smartphone. Just type free workout apps into your app store and see what you can come up with. A few good ones we have come across are Kineticoach, Workout Trainer, Sworkit, Nike Plus Training Club, and Home Workout. Other workouts can be found by simply searching the internet. You can find a large variety of workout videos depending on what your interests are. YouTube and Fitness Blender are just a couple sites to check out. The other option is the library. Some libraries have a selection of workout videos that you can borrow for a short time. This is a great way to test out a variety of different exercises and see what you prefer. When you are following a workout video or an app, it can make it just a little bit easier to commit. The workout plan is already done for you. You don't have to come up with anything. You just have to follow along. All workouts can be modified to your ability and do not require added equipment to help you see results. But as you continue to build endurance and get stronger, you may want to challenge yourself even more and try some new things. You can find some different options for exercise equipment without breaking the bank. A jump rope is a great way to mix up your cardio session for only a few dollars. Or you can increase that budget slightly to include some resistance bands, dumbbells, and/or kettlebells for more of a challenge to increase your strength. You can look into a yoga mat if you'd like to try out yoga or want to include some more ground exercises like abdominal workouts or Pilates. And if you'd like to challenge yourself even further but are unable to stretch that budget to invest in equipment, don't worry. Take advantage of what you have at home. Once you finish that milk jug, clean it out, add some water, and use that as your dumbbells. Just be sure that cap is on nice and tight. Laundry detergent bottles work well in addition to the milk jugs. Those, once they're emptied out, fill them with some water and you're good to go. Lighter weights can be canned pantry items or even books. Just take your time and focus on your form. Again, figure out what works for you and what you're willing to stick with. Next up, we're going to switch gears just a little bit again, and Melanie will put some focus on our mental health.
So our mental health, which includes social and emotional health, is so important to our overall well-being. Having healthy tools at your disposal to manage your mental health and stress does not have to cost a fortune. There are a lot of resources online to help you find support. We have a few sites listed. Healthyplace.com. It has some great resources, including in-depth articles, self-help tools, and treatment information. Also, BetterHelp.com is a good website if you feel like you need counseling services, which they offer at a very low cost, and I think they have other pricing options, something definitely to look into if you're interested. Something to also keep in mind is that there are free resources available through organizations that specialize in providing treatment and support for specific conditions. A quick online search can help you find these groups, or feel free to contact us if you need help finding something specific. Now, apps, keeping with technology, there are some good apps out there that you can download on your phone to help with various aspects of mental health. Stop, Breathe, and Think is one app that focuses on being more aware of your emotions and has you complete short activities, which are basically just a few minutes, to help clear your mind and manage your emotions. Meetup.com, which is also an app that you can download, is a great way to find people in your area with similar interests. If you have a specific hobby, whether it be knitting, dancing, or playing a specific sport, you can look for a group in your area or even start your own group. This is a great way to make for new friends and absolutely help with de-stressing and your emotional health with a focus on social connections. Now, with coupon sites, there are various sites out there where you can find great activities to do with your family, friends, or even by yourself while on a budget. Groupon, Living Social, and other local sites are really good resources. Right now, kids are out of school, so you can find activities like discount tickets at local sports venues, tickets to performances, plays, and so on. This is a great way to use when visiting a new place or when you're on vacation, since you can find deals and activities with local businesses. Along the same lines, local businesses' websites sometimes have promotions and coupons that you can find on their sites or Facebook. Getting out with friends and family can sometimes be discouraging when you think about the cost, but there are so many ways to save money. Also, getting out and having that fun with your family and also quality time is an important aspect of our mental health. Looking within your specific community and seeing what is available is probably one of the best ways to find resources for your mental health and overall well-being. Senior centers are such an awesome local resource if you happen to be within that age group. Some of the services offered include free fitness classes, free meals, legal services, and financial planning assistance, just to name a few. Contact your local council on aging for more information. Now, support groups. This is something available at local hospitals and other organizations as a free service to provide support and advice for a group of people with a specific concern in common. This can be anything from AA, Overeaters Anonymous, grief support groups, and caregiver support groups, to name a few. So now up next, I'm just going to dive into more resources available in your local community. So we have touched on a lot of great resources via the internet and with phone apps, which are great, But we also want to touch on and emphasize what you have access to in your local community. So it's the library. I'm sure everyone is aware of some of the things available in your local library, but I think libraries often are underutilized resources. Whether you're looking for a cookbook with healthy recipes, self-help books, workout videos, or music, remember this is all completely free, and if you don't like a book or DVD, you haven't wasted any money and have access to any area of interest. Another awesome resource at the library are classes. Whether you are looking to keep your kids busy during summer or interested in learning something new like sewing or learning to use a specific computer program, this is definitely something to look into. Also, just something to remember, the library has free internet access. So if you do not have a computer at home and are interested in researching something online, then the library is a great place to go. Also, if you're not the most tech-savvy person, the libraries are usually very helpful in assisting you with your search. So now some community agencies. Aside from the library, there are some great community resources out there, depending on where you live. Many county and city organizations offer free or low-cost classes. In my area, for example, I have seen low-cost gardening classes and many presentations or sessions on great health topics. The key is finding what is available in your area and to do a little bit of digging. Check out your local newspapers. There's usually a local event section or city or county section. Lastly, local businesses often offer discounts or promotions if you follow them on social media, like Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. But you can even just drop in and ask if they have any special promotions. Example, you might get a free first-time guest pass at a fitness center or yoga studio. The key is just to keep your eyes peeled for businesses and organizations that offer free services that interest you. Now I'm going to hand it back to Shauna to go over some key takeaways.
All right, we wanted to list some key statements to take away from this webinar. Number one, make a plan and stick with it. Sticking to a plan can help you stay committed to your wellness goals. If the produce is in season, do your best to buy fresh. You can go with the frozen for the out-of-season produce to keep costs down. Limit your waste by only getting what you need or what you know you will use. Create a realistic budget to stick to. That one's important, especially if you're trying to keep your costs down. Get creative with what you have on hand. This applies to your meals and your exercise. Don't forget about your emotional health. Get creative with ways to get together with friends and family on a budget. Check out your various community websites for other low-cost activities. You might be surprised at what you have available. And keep in mind that in order to continue to stay within your budget, the items we discussed and the changes you make need to become a habit. Now, you might be feeling that burst of motivation to plan all your meals for next week and work out every single day. But will you be ready to do that again next week? How about the week after that? We encourage you to set a realistic goal to create a few healthy, budget-friendly meals, along with including a few workouts. Repeat this for a few weeks, and then add more once you feel comfortable.
All right, thank you, ladies. Just a quick note before we open it up for questions. Here are some webinars that are coming up. Next month, we will talk about water, incredible H2O, and how it's great for you. And then in September, we will talk about meditation. Katie Jo will help us learn the technique to improve your well-being regardless of where you're at with your current health. So lots of good stuff coming up. And then here is our contact information. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we have our blog, which is where you will find the recording of the webinar. We're on Instagram, and then you can give us a call or shoot us an email with any questions or anything that pops up. We're always here to help support you. Keep in mind our Facebook page is a great resource for additional posts on this topic. They'll be posting for the rest of this month, and then also in the future for different health-related topics and recipes and all that good stuff. So we are going to open it up for questions here.